Thank you all for 550 plus subscribers. You are all awesome and I don't deserve you. And now since I hit a milestone, I gotta review something big. Based on a French book of the same name, and after a bunch of rewrites and compromises and even a makeup test video, we finally got the movie. We open on a spaceship and we see Charlton Heston as Taylor. He's giving off some philosophy and smoking in a spaceship, which was always safe. Okay, so they left in 1972, the movie came out in 1968, and it's currently 2,673. The same year we'll finally get Tron Uprising Season 2. Then Taylor goes to bed, but then they crash. And their stasis pods suck because all the guys grew beards over their sleep, and one of them died. But no time to think about that because the ship's Titanicking. And they've been asleep for 1,305 years. And they miss Thanksgiving. But the three make it onto a raft and escape, and wander around the Mojave so long I wish for a nuclear winter. Where are we? Then they find some vegetation and some scarecrows. Alright, scarecrows, so that means the Great Khans are near. We're near Red Rock Canyon, so we're making progress, people. We'll eventually make it to New Vegas. But then it turns into an anime because they find a waterfall and all get naked. And somebody stole their clothes. And those some people are cave people? Taylor thinks they can take them. But oh no, they get attacked by, gasp, apes on horseback. Like we're on some kind of planet of the apes. Oh, of course the black guy gets killed. Second. The other guy is KO'd and captured, and Taylor's shot in the neck like George Orwell. Wow, humans getting treated like how we treat animals. Symbolism, haha. In the original book, Ape Village was this modern city with trains and cars and even helicopters. But that's expensive, so instead Ape Village is the Flintstones. If you want to see how this movie will look with Modern City, read Planet of the Apes Visionaries. Then chimpanzee Dr. Zira patches him up and thinks Taylor, or Bright Eyes as she calls him, is interesting. But Dr. Zaius, her boss, the orangutan, doesn't think so. Just like in the book, ape society is divided into 3 different apes. The chimpanzees, who are the scientists and medical officers, the orangutans, who are the political and religious leaders, and the gorillas, who are the labor force. And I think the makeup looks amazing, especially for the time. It's done by John Chambers, who basically did everything in the 60s. And I think the makeup even holds up today. You can't tell any of the actors underneath who they are, and I think they look like the apes they're meant to. Then we meet Zira's fiancé, Cornelius, the chimpanzee, played by Roddy McDowall. He's an archaeologist. Then Taylor manages to steal some paper from Zira and writes his name on it. And then after being able to make a paper airplane, they're further convinced that he's special. And along with Cornelius' dig site, this might even prove his hypothesis that at one point apes were a primitive species and there was a civilization ran by humans. But the Council of Orangutans doesn't like this, because of their religious scripture telling them that the apes have always been this way and humans have always been primitive. A religious society that shuns technology and science for religious zealotry despite all facts, ignoring, delaying, and even destroying evidence so they can continue their religious zealotry, preventing social and scientific advancements, and branding anyone who doesn't agree with them as undesirables. What is this, the Republican Party? But Dr. Zaius is catching on to all this. Meanwhile, a sexy cave girl named Nova is eyeing Taylor. So now Zaius wants to cut Taylor's balls off. Taylor escapes, and after a chase scene, he's captured, and makes movie history.
Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Iconic. So then they throw him back in a cell and spray him with a hose. Then the orangutans put him on trial to see if he does have ape rights. Cornelius and Zira say he does, but the orangutans see, hear, and speak no evil. Taylor demands to see what happened to the rest of his crew. The black guy's been stuffed, and what's-his-face got lobotomized. At the second hearing, Cornelius gives his statement that he thinks Taylor might be the evidence he needs to prove his hypothesis that humans once ruled the world. Especially given that Taylor said his ship landed near. But the orangutans say that's heresy. And that's the forbidden zone. We're not going there. It's forbidden. And it's clear that this was just a straight up mock trial. And then later Zaius is talking to Taylor, and it's clear that he thinks he's some weird mutant, and he knows more than he says. But then they break Taylor out of jail, and they go into the Forbidden Zone anyway. Some say that's where man began, on this wasted piece of land, where evolution yet to show, Forbidden Zone. They make it to the dig site. Taylor has a shave. But oh no, Zaius followed them. But he does agree to come into the cave with them. They poke around a bit until they find a dolly. And the doll talks, giving us evidence that humans at one point were intelligent. But then the gorillas start shooting, and after one fight scene, Zaius admits that religion's stupid and he knew all about ancient humans. And he gives Cornelius a piece of the ancient scroll showing this.
Beware the beast man, for he is the devil's pawn.
Taylor decides that he's going to leave and find answers. He's bringing Nova with him. Then he kisses Zira for some reason. Alright. And he rides on the beach. But before you think this is a happy ending, Zaius demands the cave to be sealed and everyone charged with heresy. And as Taylor's riding, he sees something and pieces together that he's been home this whole time.
Damn you! God damn you all to hell!
We pan out and we see the ruins of the Statue of Liberty. We are on Earth. This is one of the greatest twist endings of all time. If you didn't know about it, you would have never saw it coming. And they hinted to it because we saw the map earlier, it's New York. And even with it being one of the most iconic endings of all time and everyone and their grandmother knowing it, it's similar to Luke, I'm Your Father from The Empire Strikes Back, where everyone knows about it, but even the reveal in the movie I still think works. But overall, Planet of the Apes is a great movie. It's not super accurate to the book. I mean, the iconic ending is nowhere to be found in the book. There, it's an actual different planet. But I still think it works by itself. The acting all around is fantastic. The music, the sets, the environment, it's so good. The message about society, religion, humanity, and its relationship with animals and nature is still relevant till today. Overall, I still highly recommend this movie.